degree, there's some self-help coaching that's going to get into some metaphysical stuff, dealing with your stress and dealing with your career choices and dealing with your unhappiness. I'm going to get metaphysical on you. Although my take is, look, I'm going to give you 30 minutes to just figure out if we're a good fit. Because I think if we could talk as human beings for 30 minutes, you're going to find you resonate with me or you don't. Like, I might be able to speak a language you can receive, or we have compatibility, or we don't. And that to me is low impact.
And I'll tell you what, to keep this all in context, this thought stuff, man, in that book was just so, I'm just more and more entrenched in this idea and believing that it's 100% what's going on in the playbook upstairs.
That's how it got me, Mark.
And we are the masters of that domain. And once we finally believe that, and like you said, literally monitoring every thought at every time and looking at what's renting space up there for free that shouldn't, and what is
just comes in like it owns the joint. Take shoes off, put your feet up on the furniture.
Yeah, I saw a t-shirt today on Amazon, and it was funny. It said, just because it pops into my head doesn't mean it has to shoot out of my mouth. And that was a perfect illustration of that idea. You know, we're not responsible for the DNA of this leprosy that's default.
Zero choice.
It's the choice. We are responsible for what we do with it once we're aware of it. And that goes back to the Cain thing. Sin knocks at your door, and it wants to rule you, but you must rule over it. It's going to be there. It's going to pop into your head, but it's up to us to decide. And it doesn't just have to be a sexual thought or an outburst of anger or a foul word. It could be a thought of fear, a thought of doubt, anything that changes my emotional state. And I'm becoming so much more aware of how my emotions are connected to the thought pattern. Like, why am I feeling down? Well, what song is playing in my head right now? You know what I mean? What am I entertaining? What am I entertaining?
A little bit of self-reflection starts showing you that this machine doesn't shut down, it doesn't stop, but it does need to be managed. And you will not manage it to your own peril, to your to your own hurt. You will think in this unaware way, and it's affecting so many things as they map out to play in our lives. It's incredible. It is incredible.
Yeah, and I love the point you brought up about and last week was a perfect case study, the meltdown I had when I was freaking out. And that was fear-based. That was fear, panic, looking back at the past.
Oh, that movie was up on the big screen, man.
I was big screen, man. That was in the IMAX.
You took me into theater, dude. It was an uncomfortable movie.
Popcorn.
Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But so, we have to walk through
it. But here's what I believe Dad showed me through this. Like, just like you kept alluding to in that As a Man Thinketh, maybe the most powerful statement in that book was, we all want to change our circumstances, but very few of us want to change ourselves. And
therefore man remains bound. That's the next sentence.
Yeah. So here's the thing, dude. Here's the lesson. Like, it's all in how I'm perceiving the circumstance. I've been through the same thing so many times, and it always changes, and something comes through or something works out, but my thinking through the whole process stays the same. I don't change, although the circumstance changes. And then when the next storm comes, I go right back to that. So what better opportunity than when he provides a storm for us to practice that change. There has to be a storm to practice that element. Now I have a choice in this matter. Am I going to believe what fear is telling me, or am I going to believe what he is telling me? I got to make a choice. I'm commanded to not worry. It's a command. It's not, here's a suggestion. Do not worry. Your Father knows what you need. Seek, what am I worried about? And I thought, wait a minute, I can be free from this. This giving into the fear is just idolatry of circumstances.
That's beautiful.
Over him. And I've read that. I don't take credit for that. It's idolatry.
Very well said. Whoever said it, it's very well said.
Yeah. It's idolatry of circumstances. And fear is a God-given thing. There's a healthy fears in our life. The problem is when we let it dominate us and we trust it more than we trust him and what he says in those situations. I mean, you look at Joshua, dude. 3 million Israelites, 99.9% of them chose to believe the word and the report of the 12 spies. Only 2 people decided to look at that circumstance a whole different way, Joshua and Caleb. Now, forget whether you believe it to be true theology or not, but it's a great illustration. All these other guys, 3 million of them, oh, there's giants, we're going to die, they're going to kill us, we're like grasshoppers, God brought us here to kill us because he hates us. And Joshua and Caleb said, screw this, man, did God not promise to give us that? These people are our servants, he's going to deliver us, let's go take it. And only they entered in, because and the only difference was, bro, they chose, even though they might have been scared, they didn't let that fear override the promise of what their father told them. And they chose to look at the circumstance they looked at it as opportunity instead of a ball. And because the majority, chose to stay bound and as idolaters of their circumstances, they never entered into those blessings. The riches you talked about. The riches of contentment, peace, not the money, but those spiritual riches that we're talking about that we want so much, regardless of what the circumstance is, all by changing the perception of how we see the situation. Concentrate on the righteousness of the right thinking. And that's what I believe the righteousness is, his thoughts.
I agree.
Thinking is he in everything, in the storms, in the sin temptation, whatever it is, right thinking.
This thought component, Mark, when we first started talking and you heard the word consciousness, and I remember you mentioning it to me, because it's so connected, consciousness is so connected to thought awareness. Consciousness in humanity is actually fine.
I just needed to vent more than anything. I was just a big sit full of pus that needed to erupt.
And you found that helpful?
Oh my God, I always do. I mean, that's a healthy thing.
So what happened next, though? What happened through here? Tell me how things played out.
I almost forgot about it now. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
I had to get perspective, man. First of all, after I got off the phone with you, I felt relieved and calm. And I went to sleep after that. And the next morning I woke up and felt 1,000 times better and calm. It's such peace. And I just said, thank you, God.
That's awesome.
I said, thank you for my brother that's there for me in these times that I could just unleash on safely and have somebody that understands that I don't have to go through this alone. That was the big thing. I'm not alone on this journey. Regardless if it's good or bad, that there's just somebody there that I can lock arms with. And I was just extremely grateful for that. That was part one. The second one was realizing, hey, when am I going to start? Like you said, the problem isn't, his first concern isn't my financial status, it's my freedom. And he wants our joy to be full. That's why he spoke these things, that your joy would be full. Yep. And there's no fullness of joy when fear is dominating, like a little Napoleon tyrant up there, shutting the door on any choice of faith. And it started realizing, now's my opportunity to be free from this crap, man. I can't spend the rest of my life in this. I realized so clearly, I am a slave to my fears. I am a slave to worry. I'm a slave to money, more than I even thought. Yeah, thank God I don't have more than I do, because the more I have, the more I fear losing what I have. And I start to...
Interesting.
It's like the proverb. The guy says, Lord, I ask two things of you. Don't give me riches or poverty, that I don't have enough and get tempted to steal, or I have too much and I forget the name of my God because I'm too prosperous and I put my trust. And it became so painfully clear how much I trust in abundance of material things more than him, my security. And I'm thinking like a Gentile. And I'm realizing it's a mercy I don't have that, because I'll get too distracted and I will lose the trajectory of what the real game is here, which is our growth, not our bank accounts, dude.
That's exquisite.
And then
it's perfectly said.
And then on the heels of that was where we started the conversation of realizing this storm is an opportunity to break those sick patterns of thinking and gain his perspective and start choosing what I now know is a choice. And I'm not a victim of these things, only by conditioning and believing that I am a victim, and using that as the bullshit excuse to stay in my fear, because that's the devil coming at you, bro. That's an old thing. That's an attack. That's a demon of fear. All that shit that's still in there. Hey, wait a minute. No, it isn't. That's nothing more than a choice. I've been deliberately, intently tracking these fears like a Category 5 storm over the horizon, and these thoughts, and trying to combat every one and put into practice what he said, as hard as it is in some cases. Some days it's easier. And build that new house on the rock instead of the sand.
My choice.
And panicking myself into a situation and say, wait a minute, man. And then there was the realization that I am not the same Mark I was when that happened. And the growth and the totally lessons.
Different man.
Oh.
Totally different man. Totally different brain.
And I had to go through that, as bad as it was, because the lessons were invaluable and they broke chains. They broke sick habits in my life that were killing me physically. I mean, bad things, dude. And it was in them moments that the chains were broken and I woke up. So I'm looking at, this next thing is, well, wait a minute. Every time I've been through this, does he not provide one way or another? Countless times. And it's always in ways and things that I wouldn't expect, but he adds it to me. I cannot be a servant of two masters. I cannot sit there. Dude, when I start looking for jobs on a phone or on an online, I get so discouraged within 3 minutes. I go nuts. What am I looking for? And it happened before there was even jobs online available. Handing out 50, 60 resumes to anything and everybody, and nothing came through. And when I totally gave up, exhausted, discouraged, and was out of ideas, something comes. It just happens that way all the time. He comes through. And this time, I'm faced with that decision again. Now, Mark, are you going to focus on me and my righteousness? Or are you going to get discouraged focusing on mammon, jobs? What am I going to do? What am I going to work? When I've already promised you, I know what you need. Not what you want, but what you need. And I will give it to you. Because if you start focusing on that, you're going to lose focus on the main thing. It's always like that. I can't do both. It's two masters. I hate one, which hate in that context means loyalty. I'll be loyal to the fear and the worry, the things the Gentiles seek after. What am I going to do? Where am I going to work with?
And work hard to convince yourself of it. To convince yourself of your own limitations. With your words, with your ideas. Convincing yourself that this is right.
Yes.
Arguing for my limitations. Arguing for this wrong idea.
You know, I think James said it. No man should say I'm being tempted by God. He doesn't even say the devil. He says every man is tempted.
I think it's the world system. It's just come
when
to the
they're
program.
drawn away by their own desires. You know, he doesn't blame the devil either.
It's who we are, dude. It's who we are.
Yeah, Christ didn't blame the devil.
Until we change, it's who we are.
So when accepting the responsibility of, hey man, I've been given dominion. I've been given victory, if you will. The victory is the power that we have to choose.
Already.
That's the victory, huh?
It's already.
It's there.
I think, to learn. So two things. Learning victory already is. And all you're doing is fucking it up and not getting to it. Like it's there. It's there, waiting. It's there. It's right there. Of course. It's mine. The only reason you and I are not experiencing all of that to its fullness is we're doing stupid shit that keeps fucking it up. It's the only reason, because it's right there. It's not there. He doesn't take it away. It's there. And then it is, let's manage our system and get the Rubik's Cube right to just allow what already is ours by divine right, by fiat, by promise, by birthright. It's there. And then just let that come in.